It's tentative lockdown day 4, although they're all starting to blend into one, if I'm honest. I started work about 8 o'clock this morning, working on my video tutorial prep, trying to use things that people will actually have at home, and specifically things that I've got at home, which is not much. Most of my stuff's either in the studio at university or at mum and dad's house, which I can't just go and get. So that's proving a bit difficult. So the first one I'm doing is block printing with polystyrene, which is annoying me. I really wish I had styrofoam of some description. So life's getting kind of crazy right now. The government rules seem to be morphing depending on who's interpreting them. I read an article yesterday about how Staffordshire Police had been rounding people up on Cannock Chase. Basically, the outcome was that if you're going for your exercise, you can't drive to the place that you're going for your exercise. You must have to walk from your home, which to my recollection was never actually said by the government. The argument is that it's not an essential journey. However, if you live in a crowded place, surely it is better to go 2 minutes in your car to a quieter place than it is to walk the streets around your house and encounter 30 or 40 people. Town centre living, for example. Or if you're not particularly able and you're liable to meet more people in the streets or in places that you can't socially distance, surely, once again, it's better to get in the car and drive a couple of minutes away. I'm not saying you should be driving hours to the beach or national parks, but surely if you live in the vicinity of somewhere that you can go to walk, specifically if you have a dog, you ought to be able to drive there. For example, my father, since his stroke, he's not very mobile, so it would take him a long time to walk to a place where he could let the dog off. He's more stable if he's got his hands free. Honestly, I think it's been taken a little bit out of context, and there was an article actually on the news about it this morning that Derbyshire Police have gone that route as well. But even the people on the news pointed out that it's unclear whether or not this actually is a law. And now that the news people are reporting on it, you can bet your bottom dollar that Boris and his cronies are going to come out and say that yes, it is against the law to drive to a place to exercise, even with a good reason. So this translates into other things. What is an essential journey? Well, I've been given a letter and a copy of himself's ID to prove that I'm effectively essential to be out, because I have to pick him up and drop him off at work because he doesn't drive. If you drive to the shops, that's fine. If you drive to get medication or to help a vulnerable person, that's fine too. If you drive to an appointment of some description, that's fine, because they're all essential things. But it's not essential to get the exercise that you've been told is your right to have. I think the problem is these laws, or rules as they're calling them, because they aren't laws, they're not legislation, are too wishy-washy. So they are being interpreted in lots of different ways by lots of different people. And I do think, and this will be controversial, that the police are picking and choosing their policing. I just think the whole attitude's bizarre. How is it any more likely to spread this pandemic by going away from people in your car? I've been told that it's to do with road traffic accidents and clogging up the NHS. But if that's the case, why are people allowed out on mountain bikes? I mean, you'll be getting air ambulances out and all sorts to these clowns. Never mind. Quite interested in the fact that Boris himself is now saying he's got the virus. Himself predicted it 4 or 5 days ago. He was convinced he'd got it then. So that's quite funny. Well, not really funny, because even though I can't stand Boris Johnson, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. But it is quite funny that he predicted it. Also makes you wonder how many other people in Parliament are going to get it, since 2 days ago he did PMQs. Changing the subject, yes, I've spent the whole of today working on work stuff. I haven't touched uni stuff. However, I did have a group chat with the guys, which was, we didn't really have anything to show each other, but it was nice to catch up. Hopefully next time we talk, at least one of us will have done some work, and I'm hoping that it'll be me. I shared my fears about student loans with them, which they found depressing, but understood the fears and agreed that it was relevant. The next door neighbour has suddenly started making a hell of a lot of noise. He's DIYing, I think. So I'm starting to wonder when I'm actually going to be able to record these videos without a lot of noise. Especially as he's right next to where my studio is. I genuinely think that this 3 weeks is the most freedom that we're going to have in a long time. I think we're going to be locked down tighter than a gnat's arse very soon. And I'm really worried about Kite. I mean, obviously, if she's at mum and dad's, I'll miss her like crazy, and I know she'll miss me. But she has the garden and she has constant company, which she wouldn't have down here, because I'd have to be to-ing and fro-ing, taking himself to work. And I can't fit her in the car as well. It's not fair to leave her on her own. But at the same time, if she's there, she can only have one walk a day, and that's only a small walk, especially if Dad can't get her in the car to take her. And he's more likely to encounter a lot of people. If she was down here with me, we're town centre, so we'd be encountering a lot of people. I don't know how to plan for this. I know I need to plan for it. The trouble is, if they announce that we're locking down tighter, it'll be with no notice, so I won't have the opportunity to go and get her. I think the fact that I'm spending a lot of time on my own in this place, I'm doing a lot of thinking, and it's not necessarily healthy. But what else can I do?